Let me go here.
All right, and you are now watching the Juke Boys Sports Show, and the podcast is brought to you by Fitboxer Studio. If you want to file or do any photo shoots, podcast, music videos, just want to use the green screen, call the number at the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. And I am your host, King Ralph, here with my co-host, Kai. What's happening, Brody?
What's good? What's good? We are approaching my favorite time of the year.
Yes. Man,
NBA
we're almost
draft,
there, bro.
Football.
We're almost there. Football, NBA draft. I really enjoy the Olympics. It's been some wild storylines in the Olympics, man.
Right.
That meme, I don't know if it was you or Tar, posted with Dave standing behind Evan Fournier, bro. That joint had me crying. Because I've been saying this for years. Like, people that, like, they don't be scrubs, but they be legit role players in the NBA. And then they go play for their native country, and they turn into the Jordan of their country. And it's crazy. Yeah. Like, and then that meme alone, the look on Dame's face while you're reading the quote that he said is comedy, dog. He just was sitting there like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, it reminded me of I was thinking of Carlos Arroyo, because I was sending all the homies a Carlos Arroyo video I saw on IG of how he cooked like Team USA, man. And they said called him like the Puerto Rican Michael Jordan over there. You know what I'm saying? He was solid in the NBA, but he wasn't cooking it like
he wasn't that dude
back in the homeland, man. I was like, so yeah, man. But no, Dame, that meme, yeah.
Yeah, that joint had me crying laughing, bro. Just got to do one quick little adjustment because I realized I spelled Dykeman wrong. But all right, so let's jump into it, bro. So the other day I was sitting there, and I'm watching. Shout out to Shannon Sharp, but and his Uncle Shay Sharp podcast, Club Shay Shay. He had my guy DeMar DeRozan up there, and they got to talking about the Drew League and what that meant to him, and is that the shall you say is the Drew League and LA the mecca of basketball now? They surpassed New York. Now that's a conversation for another day, but I did want to at least ask because it got me thinking about Rucker, Drew, Dykeman. We've heard all of these stories from Dr. J hooping at the Rucker, Kyrie at Dykeman. We look at the Drew League and you've seen how many just regular hoopers come in and just work out NBA All-Stars. So for me, it got me thinking, how important are those leagues to the game of basketball in your personal opinion?
All right. So in my personal opinion, I believe they're very important. And the reason why I say they're very important, because one, it's a chance, for competitive nature, a chance for the players who have a little more free range, you know what I'm saying, in the off season, get a chance to, have some camaraderie. There might be some tampering that goes on,
a lot of that.
Yeah, I look at it as an extension, right? I look at it as an extension of what the Rucker was, right? Because coming up, even before me and you had the Dr. J's of the world, you had the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars of the world, and the Rucker, playing at the Rucker, was a place where you would earn your stripes and sort of a rite of passage. When you look at the ABA, the NBA, and the show, okay, who is the creme de la creme on the blacktop? You know what I'm saying? And now we have the Drew League. I've seen guys from OJ Mayo. I've seen guys from Nick Young, Julius Randle a few years ago. And I actually like it because it's becoming more and more prominent. I would actually go as far as to say it is the most prominent in the offseason right now, in the summer, over the Rucker, only because the last time I remember the Rucker and just, top tier, like the top of the top was that KD and Michael Beasley.
Yeah.
And KD
what was that, the lockout season?
Yeah, the lockout season, everybody was there, bro. Everybody. It was just mano y mano, just going at it. And KD, I think he had like 50. Like KD just had like 50 on them fools. I don't think LeBron played indoors. He played that indoor one, right? It was like LeBron, Russ, John Wall, all them. And so that's why I was like, I wish he had played at the Rucker. Because I feel like if you don't play at the Rucker, then you ain't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, he's still all-time great, but you gotta establish yourself. So right now,
even Seattle, shout out to Seattle's Pro-Am, they got up there too. They got a really good one.
With
Jamal Crawford's run that he does up in Seattle is amazing. That's where Zach LaVine got that legendary status as far as being a dunker.
Right. I think
it started from that Pro-Am.
Right. And I think it was like Nate Robinson. He been up out there, all of them. So I think now we're just seeing more of a to the point, like I think we're just seeing more of an expansion of what the Rucker was. And so I think they're very important, you know what I'm saying? And a chance for the fans, to actually go out and bring their families and see that competitive style nature of basketball. So if you want to kind of add on to that, man.
Yeah, man. Like I just think that like we brought up those stories, man. Like the untold story of the game that almost happened at the Rucker. Like how big that was. Where what was it? Jay-Z and Fat Joe. They was putting their squads together. And it was just like you got Melo, you got LeBron, T-Mac supposed to play in that, Kobe's supposed to play. Like it's just so much like the although these are just NBA All-Stars, it's like you got to think about it. Basketball, just as simple, is it goes back to we all started at the well, I don't know about this younger generation, but we all started at the playground. And like our games were developed at the playground. Where I just seen this thing the other day where Gilbert Arenas was talking about like why kids are where they are today versus where we started at. It was like our games were developed at the playground where kids today are getting that. They're getting trainers at 8 years old. And it's like they're teaching them how to eat, how to hoop, the different moves. And so they're getting more polished games where our games were that grit grind, you falling on the asphalt or you just developed your game at the park. So like that was such a big part of where we are today. I do think that to talk about that whole Mecca thing, I don't think that without that, it's like without hip hop starting in New York, we don't get to enjoy the music that came from Atlanta. How it's just right now Atlanta's running things as far as on the music side. So it's like you wouldn't be able to get to the Drew League without having the Dyckmans, without having the Rucker leagues.
Right.
And so I do think that sometimes I hate when people do that because it kind of makes it to where we don't show appreciation to one. We start only thinking about the other. Mm-hmm. And I think you don't get one without the other. So the Dyckman League, even if you go and you look at like in the 80s, there's stories of Mike going and playing in Pro-Am leagues in Chicago.
Yeah. You see
like during those summers. And it's like when you go and you look at that, the footage be grainy into the mud, but just some of those runs that they was out there, bro. They was out there hooping, man, at a high level, extremely high level. So I do think that, like, I love it because I just enjoy, like, even now I follow Baller's Life and you see them just pulling up at random parks and they'll post like, hey, we've pulled this random group of people will post like, hey, we pulling up over here. And people are just packed the park. And this was like mid-COVID too. So like the fact that like people was pulling up like that, it shows how important that those park leagues, those rec leagues, and things like that. Like just now, just before I was watching, there's a Trae Young is in a rec league, and some random dude talking trash to him, and he made him eat crow, like you would say. And it's like, yeah, it just make you look bad, and it gives you appreciation because a lot of us go up there and we see Brian Scalabrine be the 12th, the 13th person on the end of the bench, and we think, oh yeah, man, I'll give him work. Then when you go and you actually up against someone like that, it gives you an opportunity to actually physically touch someone you looked like up to. Like you have that interaction with them. Like especially with when it comes to the Drew League, because the Drew League started as just like it was a community thing. Then it began, and then it grew to the part where it started off where you can get the opportunity to see a Baron Davis, to get to see different players like a DeMar DeRozan, a James Harden. Now you got people like Frank Nitti is a Drew League legend, but he killing it in the big three, and it's got you thinking like, why can't this person get in the league? And Frank Nitti is not even 30, so it's like he has an opportunity. He should be in the league. Why isn't this in the league? And it's like, but to go back to my point, it gives you an opportunity to touch someone and interact and have an opportunity to play against some people that you looked up to. And as far as like, because we all hear those stories of those like people that were nice, but whether it was the grades, opportunity, or wrong life choices that put them in jail, and politics and all of that, like. Pierre Jackson is an amazing talent, probably one of the most talented people I've physically seen in person.
Yeah.
And I've seen him play well in the league, but he didn't get a long-lasting opportunity. So it's like people like that. You get to enjoy the game of basketball, and you get to see them take your name off the back of the jersey, sponsorships. All of that is out the window. Who is really out here hooping?
Right. Yeah, I say it's basketball culture, man, and I use a hip hop analogy because basketball, the NBA, and hip hop community has been synonymous in terms of the way we dress. And entertainers want to go to basketball games, and players want to rap and different things like that. It's like if you go to a hip hop event or a cipher, you just want to see people rap, or just like like the culture of it, like basketball hoop culture. Like. See people play games, street ball, you know what I'm saying? Street ball scores, et cetera. We had the and one. Now we have, pickup games, Rucker and different leagues and all that. And you get a chance to see retired players, play current stars or current players, so it's a beautiful thing. Or maybe even college players that didn't make the NBA for maybe due to an injury, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And it's definitely very important to the hoop culture.
Yeah. And so to talk about things of old and past and bring things to the current, we got NBA draft is on Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to watch it because I'm gonna pretty much spend my day on a flight to Hawaii. But hey, who's gonna complain? You're being on a flight to Hawaii. But we got to break down some things, man. It's for me, I think anybody's tripping if you don't take a specific person at number one. But I guess you got to do the whole meet with other people and the nuances of the game. But I think it's pointless. If I was the Pistons, I would only talk to one person, and I'm like, everything else is just like, Jalen Suggs, bro. Like, not but no, like I ultimately, no disrespect to Jalen Green, Evan Mobley, Jalen Suggs, and the other people that are in the draft. But like, I just think Cade Cunningham is above. But at the end of the day, we all know who our number ones are. Who are your other four to make up your top five in the draft?
Yeah. So for me, it's tough. It's tough because there's two guys in particular that I really like, and then everyone else. Honestly, I actually really don't have some favorites outside of these guys, but I like Bouknight, James Bouknight from UConn. I was about to say Connecticut, but it's still Connecticut. James Bouknight. Right. So with him guys, he's a point guard, right? But he has a shooting guard mentality. You know what I'm saying? So he's a scoring point guard, and obviously we had this influx of point guards that scored in like the late 2000s and things of that nature. What I like about him is he's crafty, he's creative in terms of with his handle. He has certain spots on the court where he can shoot from. So if you ever watch him, he'll come down, hit you with an in and out, and then like what looks like a bad shot, he can make what I call NBA-esque shots or NBA style shots. So a bad shot for him, he has it in his caliber, right? So now as a coach, you may not necessarily want him to always take that shot, but he has the ability to take that shot. But I've also got a chance to see him firsthand when he played my Maryland Terrapins in the tournament. And just the dude he's really creative. He can get to the rack. He's not the highest athlete in the draft, but he's
Right.
serviceable with that. My only issue with him is, will they move him more to like that CJ McCollum role? Will they have him
Right.
playing with two? Will he be an undersized two guard? You know what I'm saying? He's like 6'3", and we have the Austin Rivers of the world. And we saw how Austin Rivers performed in college, and he was supposed to be this guy. But I think Chad Ford was the one who was like, oh, no, he's going to be an undersized two guard, and he's not going to be great. You know what I'm saying? But I like James Bouknight. Obviously, Cade Cunningham is my number one. I do want to cook on Cade real quick. The reason why, and we talk about Cade, the reason why Cade Cunningham to me is the clear-cut number one is he's 6'8", and he has versatility to play the point guard position, which is his position right now, the shooting guard position, and the small forward position. Okay, shoot, he might even play the four, but so you have the versatility to play all three positions and excel at all three positions because he's a two-way player. I don't even like the terminology, Ralph, two-way, because I feel like in basketball, the nature of the sport requires defense to be played. And I won't shut up about Cade, but he's like, he definitely won't shut up about Cade. He will play. He's an on-ball defender. He can shoot about 40% from three. Okay. He played from Oklahoma State. He wound up taking them from not being in the tournament to being in the tournament, and he's a leader of men. So I like the intangibles of Cade Cunningham. And the only weakness that he really has right now, obviously, he's not the most athletic, but what you can do with your smarts can over what's that word? Not compensate, but overcome for some of those athletic things, but he can finish around the basket. It's his turnovers.
Yeah.
This is a guy who I believe he averaged like 4 turnovers or something like that, when he was in college. And when you look at the turnovers, Ralph, it's how he turns the ball over. Sometimes there's nobody around him or the ball will slip out of his hand. Yeah. So you already have some issues with ball security, but then with the ball handling, he's not really creative because I kind of look at him like a Paul George without the creativity, but he has a Penny Hardaway game.
Right.
In terms of passing.
Yeah.
So I always tell you, and I tell people, if you look at a lot of the guys that come into the NBA now, people are like, oh, well, they're the next so-and-so. No, they're not the next so-and-so. They're more hybrids of two different people.
Right.
They're a hybrid of someone who's in the league and a hybrid of someone from the past. So Cade is a hybrid of, for me, he's a hybrid of Penny Hardaway mixed with Paul George. And Penny Hardaway was 6'7", Paul George is like 6'8", 6'9". So it's the craziest thing ever because Paul George can shoot the three and Penny Hardaway can dish. And Cade's a better passer than Paul George. So it's like the craziest combination. So I definitely like Bouknight. I like Cade Cunningham at the point guard position. I also like Jalen Green. Everyone likes Jalen Green. But the reason why I like Jalen Green is kind of a business reason. G League.
Yeah.
We've discussed in the past, me, you, our friend Tari, we want to see the G League really become that farm system to develop players, especially inside the forego college where you choose not to go overseas, right? Why don't we build up our G League and use that as a developmental, you know what I'm saying? Like that what it's supposed to be, and you'll have a lot more cream of the crop. He's only 19 years old. So I believe that his floor and his ceiling is really high. This dude, he can jump out the gym. That's what I really like about him. He can jump out the gym. He can score from pretty much anywhere. The only issue is his defense. He's kind of a liability on defense, and it's more of a thing with mental lapses for me.
Yeah.
Jalen Green, just a mental lapse thing. But I think that he can pick that up. And if you play good team defense, if he's in a team on a team that plays good team defense, that can be overcome. So I like Bouknight. I like Jalen Green. I love Cade Cunningham. I like old boy from his name is Ayo. What is it? The center that you picked to go to the tournament. I mean, go to the championship in your bracket that got busted.
Wait, you talking about the point guard or the center?
No, the center.
The center is Coffee. or
Yeah,
Kofi.
yeah.
Ayo is the point guard.
No, wait, is Ayo the point guard?
Yeah, he a guard.
Are you sure? I might be
Yeah,
mixing them up. Yeah.
because
Okay.
Kofi stayed. Ayo went in the draft.
Yeah. So it is Ayo. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I like Ayo. Ayo is another guy that I actually like. I actually
Yeah.
thought that they could have went further in the draft. So he's another one. And I actually don't have a fifth. I don't have a fifth guy because outside of I feel like the draft is kind of top heavy for me. For my liking. I would say though, if I was gonna mention Jalen Suggs is all about where he goes.
Yeah.
But to me, he's overrated. He's undersized. Okay. He's going to get killed on defense. I didn't like how he started off the game, the championship game. I didn't like that. And I actually see an Austin Rivers situation where Jalen Suggs is going to be one of those guys that you look at, Ralph, you have the Adam Morrisons of the world. I'm not saying he plays like Adam Morrison, but you have those players that are just really good in college.
Yeah.
That's who he is. So that's pretty much my analysis. I don't have a fifth guy on my list, but I really like those four players right there.
I mean, obviously we've already agreed. Typically I go 5-1, but we've already agreed on who the best is.
The best.
I'm personally gonna say Jalen Green just from what I've seen. The one thing though, and I'll kind of use this comparison when Derrick Rose was coming out of high school or coming into the draft.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that they would talk about was one, his free throw shooting because he missed those free throws against Kansas. And then they would talk about his defense. So when it comes in, that's why I think that no matter where you go, it just depends on your fit. Now, if Cade is going to go number one, which both of us, that's who we're talking about, y'all. The jig is up. If you didn't know, the Pistons shouldn't be looking at nobody else but Cade Cunningham.
You look like you like
right, especially with the fact that you already have what's the old boy that they got
in Detroit
earlier too. Yeah, I think they got the left-handed kid
or at the shooting guard. At the point guard,
he can play both. He's a combo guard, but they have him playing point. I can't think of his name right now. But if you're,
they got old boy in the paint.
Because I know they got what's it, Sadiq Bey at the 3. So it's like you're
at the point guard.
But they have a point guard right now. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up right now.
I'm actually looking it up myself. All right, roster. Because I had their I had their wings on my fantasy team. Killian Hayes?
Yes, Killian Hayes, yeah. And he started to come along toward the end of the season. So it gives you versatility when you're going to go and get Cade because Cade can literally play in a place where positionless basketball, which I'm going to bring this up later on, depending on it just all depends on where you go. So to go back to Jalen Green, you already got a Kevin Porter Jr. who was there and was playing very well. You got Kenyon Martin Jr. You already got Christian Woods, who is 20-10. So to be able to pair that with all of that, especially with what he should be asked to do, I don't think that you go into it. One, you already have someone to run the offense, so he can come in immediately. Hey, bro, just go get buckets. Right. Then as far as us being a young team, we're gonna have to run. So if we're running, then that means you got to get stops. And if you're going to get stops, then that means you're going to have to play defense. So I think that it just depends on where he goes because Derek went to a team now. And we even just talked about this we've seen him in the playoffs this year, where he didn't necessarily stop Trey, but him guarding Trey versus others guarding Trey. Trey had to work for those jumpers and those screens. He's fighting over screens, fighting under screens. And then on the other end, he's making him work. So where in a team concept of things, it works out because you don't need someone to be this ultra talented defensive stopper, which there are a lot of people that really there's not that many people that can just straight lock up out on that island. So I do think that with that, like, Jalen Green is clear and above. He's my second favorite player. when we get to this third spot, that's where like I'm much higher on Jalen Suggs than you are, but we've also had this conversation many times
No, that's
before.
good. That's perfectly fine.
But a lot of people would have Evan Mobley at this spot right now, and for me, I just don't. I've seen it. I just have seen it before, to where it's a big that has guard-like skills, or he played. They have him listed as a center, but really he's. When you start looking at his measurables and his numbers, he kind of plays more like a 3 or undersized 4, but he's 7 foot legit.
Yeah.
That they got him listed at according to NBA mock draft. So like for me, I just think that I like Jalen Suggs, and this is why I say it depends on where he goes. So currently, they have him going to the Raptors, where the Raptors would need him to play point.
Yeah.
But in this era with positionless basketball, even if you don't believe he can play the point, I like his willingness to go play defense and his willingness to step in and be a team player. How much hype he had coming out of high school, you would think he would go to Gonzaga and try to be that guy. Which for them, he was that guy just within the construct of a team concept.
So you like his intangibles?
Yeah, I love the intangibles. I love the fact that he is undersized, but still when it comes to playing the 2. But he's at a spot where there's a lot of as far as playing guarding point guards, 6'4" is a good size. He's probably he's a big point guard, but an undersized 2. So the ability to switch between the 2, especially with the small ball, you could even have him play the 3 or guard 3s, depending on who the 3 is. And so, because there's a lot of teams that go like if you watch the Hornets, like he's small compared to a LaMelo.
Yeah, because LaMelo's like 6'8".
But then they also throw LaMelo, Rozier, and Devontae Graham out there out there at the same time. So him being able to guard 1, 2, or 3, those are your 1, 2s, and 3s. So just to use them as an example, I think that works. He showed that he's willing to take clutch shots. We've seen some of the shots he hit and some of the things he was able to do in the tournament. The moment was never too big for him. And then just everything that he was able to do, just to contribute to the team, decisive playmaking, and just the ability to want to go play defense. And that's where I'll give people props regardless of how well you guard someone. If you're out there playing defense, you're running around, you're switching screens, you're talking, and the intangible parts like we talked about. That's where I'll throw in Evan Mobley at this part, because I think that it's his talent level. For me, the reason why he's not one of my favorites is just I've seen this before. It's like remember Anthony Randolph from LSU?
Yeah.
Like it was so much. He reminds me a lot of that type of skill set. But I think that it could be one of those things where Anthony Randolph played in the wrong era. So I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but that's why. Where I think that this 5th spot is the one that's kind of it's kind of hard for me.
It's always tough to not a top 5
because we got Scotty Barnes, 7. He's a 3'4", 7'2" wingspan, and with with FSU, Florida State, they play really good defense
all the time.
So it's like So Pat Williams, Scotty Barnes coming next. So it's like you got to think about like he's coming in with that, being underneath the coach that's over there.
Right.
And then just like the people that come out of there, that's why I'm kind of stuck on him. But he's 6'9" with a 7'2" wingspan. So like, and he had playmaking ability. Then when you start on top of that, you go with what's my boy Moses Moody, 6'8" 2 guard, and led his team to an Elite 8.
Right.
So he was a standout on that team also.
You're 5. You about to take the field, man, on the 5. Man, I'm taking the field.
I'm just trying to give people an idea of where my thought process and why it's hard for me to pick this 5. I'm gonna be biased though, because
you go just like the most versatile guy or someone.
Because Ayo, for me, although Illinois didn't get as far as they should have, what he was able to do, closing out games, real good defense, combo guard at 6'5". He can guard 1s, 2s, and 3s, just like I said with Jalen Suggs. And he has the ability to and the want to go play defense. Now with him, they got him going like deeper in the round, but I think he's being penalized for being, if he's not a senior, he's a junior. And I think he's being more penalized. It's one of those things where he's closer to his maximum potential because of how much older he is. So he's going to go later in the rounds. Like, that's someone I wish the Bulls had a late draft pick, or we were able to get back in the first round. But we'll see what happens with that. But then, man, that wraps up my 5, man. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Green, Jalen Suggs, Evan Mobley, and Ayo.
Ayo.
But I'm actually looking really forward to this draft, man. It's gonna be curious to see. I'm hurt that my Bulls wasn't able to keep their draft pick, so like that jump just sucks.
Still in the Lonzo sweepstakes out here.
I hope so. That's our biggest chance of getting better, man. And it's this chick I follow on Instagram, man, and she posted like her trades that she wanted to see. I'm trying to think of what's shorty name.
She a Bulls fan?
Nah.
Or just NBA like?
Oh, Joy D'Angelo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I rock with her. I even like had some interactions with her, so shout out to her and the kid Gowie. I watched their lives after the playoff games. She lost a bet, so she had to wear that bald cap. But she's a huge Russell Westbrook fan and Miami Heat fan. And so, but she posted like 5 trades that she wanted to see, and Levine was one of them. So I was like, yo, you gotta leave my man's alone. Like
Levine to LA. Leave
my man's alone. He's staying in Chicago, like at least for this season. Now it just depends on what happens after this. But our biggest chance of keeping a good team together is to get Lonzo.
No, Lonzo, Levine, that would be dope. You know, Levine to LA, you know, any of those things. But no.
I'm not happy with that.
I'm trying to speak it into existence. They need someone who can take over the reins of the franchise when LeBron leaves. But all right, yeah, man. No, it's gonna be cool though. It's gonna be cool. For sure.
Yeah. I'm very much looking forward to it. But we'll see. To wrap this up, man, we're gonna slide over to Oklahoma and Texas. Are supposedly rumored to be moving over to the SEC. I've even seen talks about people thinking that the ACC should try to see what the SEC about just doing a full-blown merger. The other day.
No. Wait, no, my team's not in the ACC anymore. My team's the Big Ten. So why should I care?
Yeah.
Still,
right. And then, like, I seen people just talking about there being just three big conferences instead of a Big Five. The Big Five, they're just the Big Three tournament. I mean, the Big Three conference power conferences. What do you think this means for college sports, bro?
I think what they're trying to do is provide more parity amongst parity amongst the sport. Just like when we did so think about this, right? You extend the pool of the college football playoff, right? And then there's talk about maybe going to 10 teams, okay? That's just the playoff, okay? But if you really want to have more parity, they're like, okay, let's have one conference, have all these teams in one conference, all these teams in the other conference, and now we're going to see who the creme de la creme is. All right, cool. But my only issue I have with Texas and Oklahoma, you said SEC?
Yeah.
What are Big 12 schools known for lacking? What side of the ball do they tend to lack?
Right. Defense.
Side of the ball. The SEC teams are known for what? The defensive side of the ball, speed,
Right.
and you have the greatest receivers too. You have not the greatest. Well, actually, I can't even lie. Yeah, some of the greatest receivers too. So it's like they're almost spoiled. You know what I'm saying? You have a strong front
Right.
set like Alabama. Then you'll have a Julio Jones come through. You have an AJ Green come through. You'll have who else went to the SEC? An Odell Beckham come through. So it's not like they don't have offensive weapons. Jamar Chase come through and Joe Burrow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like they just want to beat up on the Big 12 schools even more. You know what I'm saying? But I think there would be some type of parity, I think, with that. But I think at the end of the day, the teams that aren't really fully constructed, that don't have the top talent, I think they'll still somehow find a way to fall to the bottom. You know, I think know what I'm like kind of just wording it right, you know what I'm saying, with college football. But recruiting would be big. Recruiting would be big. I think that would actually alter, Ralph, the way recruiting works or which top prospects choose to go to which school, because now everybody is in a certain area. For example, I'll give you an example, right? You want to go to a Big 12 school. Let's say you want to go to Oklahoma. All right. I want to go to Oklahoma. Or I want to go to Cliff Kingsbury's. Well, no, he's not there anymore, but I want to go to air raid offense, right?
Right.
And you're a receiver. And I'm going to put up a whole lot of stats and win a whole bunch of games, and everyone's going to see me. Well, now you're in the SEC and getting smacked twice a year by Florida and by Alabama and by LSU, and then you miss the playoff. And then they're like, okay, what big game did you play in? And you hope that you can get the bowl game. You know, so I think as a college athlete, you have to think of those things now a little bit, depending on what your sole purpose is. If it is to go to the NFL, you know, et cetera, on your recruitment process, when the coach is sitting there with you, your family, and a pitcher of sweet iced tea, they were trying to recruit you to go to the school. So I actually think a certain component that would be affected by this isn't just the competition, but also the recruitment process of top prospects as well. So it's interesting. You know, I just hope for me, you know, I just hope they're not trying to do too much too fast. You know what I'm saying? When you're trying to add multiple teams. So I'm actually kind of curious to hear your take on this. So
I think it's big, man, because I think that like when you go through the Pac-12, man, like it's been not the Pac-12, but the Big 12.
Big 12, yeah.
When you go through the Big 12, it's very top heavy. So like every year, you pretty much got Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and then maybe Baylor every 4 years. And then every 4 years, you get a Baylor. Like West Virginia has always had a very good offense, but their defense has never gave them the possibility of winning anything. I'm trying to think. Is Houston in the Big 12? Houston University?
I think they are.
Texas Tech, like
Texas Tech. Definitely.
Now we're definitely thinking about football right now, but this would also bring basketball because Texas Tech is doing the thing right now. Is when it comes to college basketball. Texas has been very good. This would change some things as far as like now you would get a Kentucky-Texas game. You would get over the years we've had Arkansas be a really good college basketball program. Alabama has been up there producing some NBA, high value NBA talent. So I think that part when we start thinking about the big spectrum of things. Now to go back to football, I do think that like as a kid coming out of Texas, if you're willing to leave the state of Texas and go to like an Alabama and LSU, now when you get the opportunity to play against those schools while still staying home in Texas, I do think that it might help keep some of the talent in those states instead of having them leave. Like, because I know a good amount of people that have LSU ties that are from Texas or South Texas. or even people from Oklahoma that go to Texas. People from Texas go to Oklahoma. So it's like I do think that like the moving from one conference, just from a level of competition, like some people want to come in and they just want to get theirs, and some people want to come in and it's like, yo, I want to play against the best. And so what conference is going to be better? Now, my school is my school's in the Big Ten. So it's like, unless we're getting like a Notre Dame added to our conference, it's going to be real. The Big Ten is real top heavy also. So it's like I do want to see as far as if who's going to get the other expansion. Is it going to be the Pac-12 or is it going to be the Big Ten or is the ACC going to be one of the ones that fold? Not fold, but end up merging with another one. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens with this, man, because I think that it's going to be dope for college sports as a whole. I think that it'll be dope as far as like, because then with that, you start to think about the money that those conferences get. Mm-hmm. And how much each school ends up putting in. So like, if you have someone like an LSU, in Alabama, in Auburn, then you add an OU and a Texas. Then with basketball, you got Texas Tech. Baylor is up there too. Baylor for football too. So it's like if you were to get some of those other ones to join them with it, I think it'll be dope for the sport for college sports because you'll have just so much more money to where not every team needs to come up with so much, or like it's going to be more disparity as far as where the money's coming from. Where I think right now you can obviously say Alabama's pulling in big bucks, LSU pulling in big bucks, Auburn's pulling in big bucks.
Alabama got that NFL money behind the scenes, man.
Right.
And NFL,
so like I'm kind of.
I'm sorry. I'm like, man. Right. Anyway.
So like I'm kind of curious to see what happens with it, man, because I do think it'll be dope for college sports. I think it'll be interesting as well because like I don't know if you saw, but the president of Oklahoma State, he sounded like a scorned girlfriend when he was talking about Texas and Oklahoma, man, because he was just like he could not fathom and believe that Oklahoma would follow Texas to the SEC and that they're giving up all this tradition and this history. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I think at the end of the day, I think with sometimes people are trying to make it seem like Oklahoma, I think with that, he was trying to make it seem like Oklahoma is following Texas. But it's like, it's kind of one of those like iron sharpens iron things where like, if you're my biggest rival and you're leaving and I want to keep that rivalry going, we're the two biggest schools. Then, like, as much as people at OK State don't want to hear that,
right.
Like, outside of Kate Cunningham, man, like, who have y'all had that wants to come there, bro?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
true.
It's like basketball or football. So it's like you've had some, like, decent people as far as, like, NFL talent, but, like, you don't have, like, no big – when's the last time they had someone, Barry Sanders?
You said Oklahoma?
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Oh, Oklahoma State, they had old boy. Dez. What? Dez was nice in college. What are you talking about, man?
He was nice in college, and that one couldn't catch a cold in the NFL.
Dez was nice in college, man.
All I remember is him sitting there like this with crusty lips.
Look, man. Dez was cold his first 3 years. Dez was cold. Dez was like my favorite. He was like my favorite receiver for the first 3 years, and I try to tell people just out of spite because they're like, oh man, Megatron's so big and powerful and strong. I'm like, Dez is better. Dez is cooler. Just because I thought he was cooler. So I was like, yeah, he was low. And the worst lie you can tell is the lie we tell ourselves. And I used to just lie. I would literally actually lie to myself. I don't lie.
Yeah.
Most of the time, which 99.9% of the time I don't lie. But I was like, yeah, Dez is better. And then they played head to head, and he just did nothing. And he was just crying and throwing stuff on the sideline.
Well, then that game where Megatron had like 4 touchdowns?
Yeah, that was a game Megatron.
They had 3-4 people on him, man. They were just throwing the ball up.
Right. But no, what you mentioned about the old boy, and complaining, like a scorned girlfriend. Remember Coach K? I take people back to Coach K when the ACC, moved to the Big Ten or merged with the Big Ten when we had Maryland and all that. And I didn't want them to move because I missed the rivalry between North Carolina and Maryland. You know what I'm saying? Maryland and Duke. And so Coach K went on a tangent about, teams, they want to do this and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel you, or I should say I understand why he said what he said, whether I agree with it or not. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, so
my whole thing is if you feel that strongly, go slide over there. The competition's better.
There we go.
You should go beat up on Texas Tech for forever. Like, yeah, is West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Who else is in the Big 12? What they got? UCF over there, or is that no? I think UCF is
Big 12. No.
I'm trying to think. Somebody
UCF
from
is Atlanta.
Somebody from Florida is over there too.
Atlanta something.
Yeah,
I think.
But
Atlantic fan. But.
Yeah, and so this last topic, man, it's been a lot of drama. So your boy Aaron Rodgers, man, and Devontae Adams posted pretty much looks like it's gonna end up being their last dance. They posted the Scottie and Michael Jordan fist pound picture.
Yeah.
And now after we came up with this topic, there's been some report about the Packers coming to an agreement to at least keep Aaron Rodgers to come in and join in for training camp. I think they started training camp today. They wiped out that last year on his contract to where now he has the possibility of opting out at the end of this season. So we'll see as far as what happens. But what do you think that means?
He's
to you.
Yeah. So he's gone. G-O-N. He's gone. All right. He just is gone. Gone like the wind, gone with the wind, so far gone. Shout out to Drizzy Drake. Like, he's just gone, man. You know what I'm saying? And Devontae Adams is coming with him. You know what I'm saying? So he's gonna find a way out. He'll find a way out his contract or something like that. But yeah, for Aaron Rodgers, this is a guy I actually kind of feel he's. I'm gonna use my words right. Aaron Rodgers, his situation isn't the worst situation, Ralph. When I really look at it, it really isn't. It really isn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can think of some quarterbacks out there struggling. But anyway,
right?
Yeah, he's gonna go to a contender. Don't rule out the New England Patriots. Don't rule them out.
That would be crazy.
And I think we actually talked about this. We talked about this in our last episode about, potential landing spots. The Bears could be there. I truly believe ultimately he's going to find his way on a contender. If he has a chance to opt out, you have given him the freedom to opt out. You must be crazy. You just guaranteed yourself, right? When you asked me that question originally, I should have said it just guaranteed that he's going to tag them for about 6 touchdowns when he plays them in Soldier Field next year. You know what I'm saying? And I bet you the schedule makers will make the schedule so as that they play on opening day or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but it is what it is. But I'll say this to Aaron Rodgers: be careful what you ask for. Also, the energy you put out, sometimes can reciprocate back to you tenfold. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been, doing a lot of talking to people and stuff like that. So, but they're gonna come to a head, and I feel like it's gonna go where he's gonna wind up being on a rival team. I think he's gonna kind of go that Brett Favre route, and maybe he has more success than Brett, because Brett, he's known for throwing interceptions. Aaron Rodgers, not so much. So, yeah, man. But this saga has gone on far too long. And at least at least we have the reassurance that he's going to be there for the training camp. So, yeah, man.
And I just looked into it, man. Devontae Adams, this is his last season under contract.
Okay,
so that would.
Question for you, though. Question for you: if the Raiders go 8-8 and Derek Carr gets injured, will you become a Bears fan if Rodgers and Devontae Adams go to Chicago? We can delete the stream if you say yes.
Nah. Not if Derek Carr gets injured. Now, if like going in the next season or like later on, they just go and like they trade Derek Carr or they release him for any reason. Oh yeah,
attractive.
I'm switching teams. If they do anything wild or reckless that I just don't agree with,
right?
Because I'm over it. They got one last one.
Yeah,
and I just can't keep blindly just riding for y'all.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I had to ask that. I had to ask that.
Yeah, I can't, man. I'm a loyal fan, man, but I'm close. I'm very close. I'm a Derek Carr trade or releasing away.
Or another Henry Ruggs non-snap or not using them away. Like,
bro, yeah. Like y'all out here drafting and signing people and then having them play out of position.
Right.
How we get LaMarcus Joyner, who was an all-pro bowler, and then, hey, I know you play safety, bro. But we got this slot position we need you to guard. And you just turn him into a straight-up slot corner, no safety, just slot corner. Like, wait, what? That makes no sense, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah. They tripping.
Yeah, but that's big tripping. Then you got Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
And it's just like you just forget like that. I get it. You draft him as an answer to a Tyreek Hill. But then it's like you just forget the last 3 years of film on Tyreek Hill. Like Tyreek Hill ain't turned into a wide receiver now.
Right.
And it's just like you only using Henry Ruggs in gadget plays and nine routes.
Yeah, they using him like he's an old boy. What was that boy's name? Tavon Austin.
Dante Hall. Tavon Austin. Desmond Hester.
Yeah,
like those are how they using these people. Like
Percy Harvin.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like don't do my man's like that. He's an actual wide receiver. He dropped one pass in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
He just happens to be one of the fastest people to ever run a 40 at a combine.
He has potential, and I don't want people to feel like people think, oh, he's like a bust or something, because he really does have the potential. I know what I saw on tape. Like, use him to the best of his abilities. But going back to receivers, but Adams, like if Adams goes to the Bears, man, I don't know if you could do Adams and Robinson, but that would be but then again, maybe he does, Ralph, because if Tom Brady is allowed to have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, AB, Gronkowski, OJ Howard, and an embarrassment of riches in the all Madden team, right? Then why can't the all Madden anniversary team, legends.
My team is crazy.
Right. Why can't his Madden Ultimate team? Why can't Aaron Rodgers have A-Rob, Devontae Adams, a top tier defense? For once, a top tier defense, that he would have since the Super Bowl, I think 10 years to the Super Bowl or something like that. Maybe. So yeah. But that's just my sentiments. I think he goes to the Bears, him and Adams.
Yeah, I think wherever, I think they're going to end up playing together still, wherever they go. I do think that it is one. I think it's time for Aaron. I do think that it's time for him. The Devontae Adams one is the one that's catching me off guard, because it's like, why is he upset unless he's just riding for Aaron?
He is because I know he posted something like a tweet or something. This is like last year or in the offseason when he said, Aaron will be my only quarterback or anything or something like that. And I kind of agree with that sentiment, bro, because Rice to Steve Young or Rice to Montana. Steve Young had to initiate himself. There was a period of orientation and initiation with Steve Young. So I think if you have a connection where you're playing with an all-time great quarterback, you kind of want to your bread matters. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you just realize where the grass ain't always green on the side, and it's like the grass is green as it's gonna get over here. I just watched. I was watching ESPN and they were talking about like Aaron Rodgers and what he's been able to do compared to other like quarterbacks in the past 10 years and previously. He has the highest touchdown to interception ratio. Was it like 6.4 or something like that? And it's like the person at second is nowhere near him. And This is like Peyton Manning's, the Drew Breeses, the Tom Brady's, the John Elway, Steve Youngs, and Joe Montanas of the world. So it's like you do got to think about that. Like, all right, so I don't ever have to worry about him and throwing the ball away. Then when you start thinking about his accuracy and his deep ball accuracy, like passes over 20 yards, there's very few people that can. I'm telling you, bro, there's been some of his throws. I'm just like, he couldn't have walked down there, had his receiver put his hands up like this, and then handed it to him right in his hands any better than how far he threw the ball. And his ability to the accuracy outside of the pocket. I do believe that eventually the amount of touchdowns will be surpassed by someone like a Pat Mahomes. But as of right now, with the last 10 years, there's nobody been through more touchdowns outside of the pocket than Aaron Rodgers. And so I do think like that partnership, obviously Aaron Rodgers in the past 10 years he had more receivers and signature receivers than Devontae Adams. But he had also Devontae Adams knows where things are good at. And I think that's very smart, a big thing to do to notice. And I would probably feel the same way if I had a close relationship with my quarterback also, especially with somebody that's that good.
Yeah, because receivers, remember, their numbers matter. And also with the all-time great like Devontae, first of all, I just want to say something really quick without going on a tangent. But Rashad Bateman, he hasn't played an NFL game, right? So as a Ravens fan, he's my favorite receiver. He was my favorite player in the draft, as I've said many times, right? But before he can become my favorite receiver in the NFL, I believe that I have to say Devontae Adams is actually my favorite receiver in the NFL. I like him. I know Coach Keith's on our staff. I watch some of his interviews. I like the way he does his work. I love his route running. I became a fan of his really within the last 2 years. So, I just think for him, he's a guy who really wants to be an all-time great, and you want to be tied to that all-time great quarterback to get that production. But his skill set's there regardless. You know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, man. It's gonna be interesting.
It is gonna be interesting, man, because I think that I think the one thing that when it comes to Aaron, I'm kind of curious what happens with the team because him working out with like a Tom Brady, being in these golf tournaments with Peyton Manning, the Drew Brees, the Tom Brady's, and having those conversations where it's like, wait, what? You get to call the game, or like, oh, you chose who your receivers were that you would throw into, or like, oh, wait, you were doing this, you got to make this decision. And It's like he started to realize like I'm not getting what I deserve.
Yeah.
And he's voicing his opinion. Where I'm kind of curious to see what happens with what agreement once the details of the agreement has come back out. I'm kind of curious what happens with that. But outside of that, man, it was thanks for a good show, man. Had to come record at the Paseo Verde Library out here in Las Vegas, bro. But we got it done.
We'll get it done any way possible.
Right. Got to get it done, man. It was good. Good show today, man. As you all noticed, if you look in the corner of the screen, there's a new logo. So shout out to my boy Eugene, OG Tron, out in Indiana for the new logo. We'll be posting it on the IG account. Make sure you follow us, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, the He Said, She Said channel. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to my Instagram as well, at KYNGRALPH, as well as on the same name on TikTok.
And it don't stop. And you can and you can subscribe or follow me on Instagram at the.houseofhoops.
All right, y'all. It was a good show today, man. Thank you all for watching.
Peace.